Here we go. Check one, check two.
Check. Am I coming in clear?
You are loud and clear. Check
Okay.
one, check two. And we are rolling with another episode of Industry Interviews. I am your host and good buddy, Dan Brown Jr., creative director and composer of CrimeSonics. And today I am joined by owner, operator, composer, and music producer of Supersonic Noise Production Music Library, and who is also the creative director for advertising and television at Bulletproof Bear, the one, the only, the myth, the man, the legend, Jason Moss. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Thank you. What an intro.
What an intro. Dude, I want to talk to you about so much production music stuff, but I'm on your sites, I'm looking at this bio, and you got these other passions, and one of them says barbecue. We need to talk about that for a second.
Who doesn't like barbecue? I mean, come on.
Dude, I'm from
Especially
St.
now.
Louis. Originally, I'm a St. Louis guy, man, so we need to talk about you for a minute.
Well, you know real barbecue. I'm from New Jersey. We know, fake barbecue.
Faux Q. We're both in LA now, so where have you found some real Q in LA?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't found, I try a couple of places and I'm always slightly disappointed.
Yep.
There's a place in Eagle Rock that is actually really pretty solid. What is the name of the Eagle Rock barbecue place? I could find but just last weekend, my wife and I went to Houston's and got their ribs because I think their ribs are just fantastic for a, quote unquote restaurant style barbecue. I've had a million ribs and I always think their ribs are fantastic.
Oh, dude, let's talk about it because look, Houston's is the same as Hillstone. Same.
Exactly. And I think their food's killer.
Dude, you're right on the money. Their ribs. We're up in the Conejo Valley area of Los Angeles, but my wife and I, we will drive down the PCH all the way to Santa Monica just to get those ribs, dude.
Crazy.
Yeah,
this place in Eagle Rock is called Max City Barbecue, and
I've seen it. Yep.
And it's really good. I mean, there's a couple of places. I mean, LA has, since I came to LA, when I came to LA in 2000, the food scene was pretty lame outside of like epic Mexican food. Yeah. And over the past 10 years, all of this gastropubby and barbecue and all the chefs are coming into town. So things are getting better. But, I'm trying to think where I just recently went, and I think I was disappointed. So probably be better that I don't even mention the name.
Yeah, or I'll just have to edit it out. So there's a place up here by CrimeSonics Studios called Ranch Hand Barbecue, and they've got some of the best tri-tip I've ever had anywhere in the country.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's the real deal. And then I know in Burbank, have you done the Handy Mart outside barbecue on Saturdays?
No, but I know where it is. I smell it. I've smelt it before.
Yeah, on Saturday before, I don't really know how long they do it, but if you're cruising through, it's like Magnolia and Buena Vista, I think. And man, I tell you what, like you articulated, there's smoke filling the block. And it's not all, I won't say it's all great. It's not all great. I'll just say, if you're going to get that, also get the tri-tip there. That's the crown jewel.
That sounds good. Yeah. I mean, look, I could easily let myself be 500 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Now everything's fried chicken. I ordered from two places on Saturday for fried chicken, delivery at home type thing on the app. One of them I ordered some fried chicken, some tenders from a new fried chicken place and fries, and I was disappointed. So I literally ordered 10 minutes later from another fried chicken place.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
And then one other totally not on topic that we need to cover is, it says coffee and more coffee. Now I'm a big coffee guy, man. What's going on? You making your own lattes at the crib or a cold brew or?
No, just, we grind fresh every morning. We just bought, we're always trying new, roasters. This week we just bought a couple of half-pound bags of Bulletproof ironically,
Yeah.
Bulletproof coffee. And we're really liking it. Then my wife found all this really delicious coffee, bean, not the grounded stuff from nuts.com.
Okay.
Because she'll get baking stuff from them, and she got some Copenhagen coffee, and we also like Groundworks, which is here in LA. There's some really killer coffee places. My brother-in-law was a roaster at Stumptown.
Oh, wow.
So when he was working there, man, he would throw us buckets of coffee, of beans. And
yes,
they had killer stuff. So yeah, I mean, we keep it simple. I don't have an espresso machine. We're just brewing. And yeah, I mean, look, if I let my addictions get the best of me, I'd be, smoking weed, drinking coffee, eating barbecue, and watching porn all day. So
dude, all day long. So a couple of years ago, I sat down and I did well, first let me back up. I won't say there's a very well-known coffee chain. It's on every corner. And it's not great. Let me tell you, it's not great at all.
Yeah.
Walk in there.
Does it have a term for money in it?
I neither confirm nor deny that sentiment, right? But here's what I will say. Any coffee place that you can walk into and it smells like burnt beans or prematurely roasted beans, and after you order, they mess up your name, and then you immediately go down the line to the reconstructive surgery kiosk, right? If that is where you are getting your drink every morning, let me tell you, let us on the podcast tell you the truth that there's a better way. Have you had Cafe Lux?
No. Where is that? It sounds familiar.
Dude, let me just look. They're not sponsors yet, but let me tell you, dude. Like, I bought a Breville, like a espresso machine, about 3 or 4 years ago. I only get their beans, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've tried I won't exaggerate, no hyperbole. I have tried a lot of roasters, a lot, and even ones out of the area where we're ordering them in, the whole nine. Cafe Lux in Santa Monica. I think there's one in Brentwood, and there's one in Malibu now. It is by far, head and shoulders, the absolute best beans I've ever had, and no one even comes in a close second.
I'm online right now.
Cafe Lux, Luxxe, I think is how they're done.
Cool. Yeah, if they got beans for sale, I mean, look, I'm looking forward to the day I can go into a crappy corner chain coffee store again, just for the experience, because it's like.
Yeah.
We're used to being cooped up or in our studio, and it's a beautiful day outside, and you go outside for a little breather, and you're like Dracula. Your eyes start shrinking and you start screaming in pain. But I guess that's going to be something I'm going to look forward to again.
Yeah, and you're right. It takes a lot of willpower to not walk into that kitchen with those beans on hand and that espresso machine and just keep it coming. You know what I'm saying? And so I try my very best to limit one in the morning and one in the afternoon, one latte. But today is a 3 latte day, and I'm not complaining, brother.
No, you deserve it, man. You deserve it.
You do. Go do you, boo.
Yeah, one of my partners in Bullet, he's a coffee freak. He's probably on a level like you. He roasts his own beans, Andrew. He roasts his own beans and he makes his own cold brew. He loves it, and I think his license plate says cold brew.
That's on a whole other level. If you're roasting your own, growing them out back, that's not what I'm doing. Hey, you said you moved out to LA. Where were you from originally?
I grew up in New Jersey, and I also grew up for a number of years in Caracas, Venezuela. My last year as a senior in high school, I was in Schenectady, New York. I literally went to 3 different high schools. I was in high school in Jersey, South America, and then New York, and then went to college in New Jersey with an underwater basket weaving degree.
Yeah, gotta have that. How did you end up in Venezuela?
My mom got remarried, and my stepdad was the director of the international school. So we went there, and Yeah, he was the head of the school that I went to. So of course I had to do everything to be the most bad behaved, troubled child, and fail Spanish 3 times in a Spanish country.
In Venezuela, it's amazing.
Yeah, it was really fascinating, really interesting, and now at my age, it almost you look back at it and it's almost like a bizarre dream. So.
Do you and then how did you and why did you end up in Los Angeles?
Well, about 25. I was pretty much trying to just be a rock star
Yeah.
for most of my life when I had hair, and I did get in early in college when I went to a college called Ramapo, and I was doing music stuff and studying the history of jazz and taking classes that I could digest as opposed to like algebra and math and that kind of shit. And I started interning at a music house in New York, because I lived right across the Hudson River in Teaneck, Fort Lee, New Jersey, Bergen County. And so, commuting to New York was what you did for fun and for work. And I was working at a couple of music houses and, learning this sort of jingle business and kind of digging that, still trying to be a rock star. And after a failed engagement relationship at 25, I met a buddy and he lived in Arizona, and he's like, the gin blossoms are really big, man. We should go to Arizona. I'm like, well, I was thinking of going to Nashville, and we kind of like flipped a coin, and it ended up being Tempe and Phoenix, Arizona. And we drove cross country at 25 to try and do the rock thing and the band thing. And, I was kind of into the jingle thing, and I was like, well, maybe I could see what I can do out there. The big fish, small pond theory was sort of the mentality. And I was there from 2000, end of 2005, end of 1995, and till 2000. I moved to LA. It's just I kind of had some amazing opportunities. I worked for a network that I became the music director there. I was doing jingles for regional local spots. And I was like, okay, if I do another Mexican supermarket, I'll probably shoot myself. Let's go to LA. I recorded an album out here. I was, I knew this was where I wanted to be and where the big boys were playing. And I'm like, let's move in 2000 and see if I could, make this career something. So
do you love it here? Do you think you'll stay here forever?
I love LA. I do love LA. I love the, I like the history, the Hispanic culture, the whole combination of being, the Southern California palm trees, Laurel Canyon. There is an interesting deep history here that I love. It's not like Arizona was really sterile. New York had also that rich history because the East Coast is so old, right? From Boston and, Virginia and Carolinas and stuff. And California also has a lot of that. The whole, Hispanic culture and the food and, me living in Venezuela, it just felt comfortable. The Mexican food here is, pretty fantastic too. Coming from Jersey, I was like, the best Mexican food I had was Taco Bell at the time.
Man, it's so good.
Yeah, right. But no, I loved LA. I felt like I was able to make inroads and build a career. And then I met my wife and, my friends. And, I really feel like LA is a special place. It's a quirky place. I would go out to lunch, with a buddy of mine when I first moved into LA, and I was working at Sam Ash part-time, till I can get things rolling. Yeah. And we go out to lunch and we're like, where the hell does everybody get their money from, man? Everybody's throwing down a Ferrari and a Porsche and luncheon like there's no care in the world. Like it was such a like La La Land. It really had that. But for the people that want to work and hustle, and are authentic, I mean, I feel like this place is fantastic,
Yeah, it is. The reason why I asked the question, I don't know who will listen to this podcast, where they are in the world. And if you've never been to LA, if you speak to anyone who currently lives in LA, they either love it here or they don't love it here. And some people
Yeah.
some people come for the long haul, and some people, they kind of breeze through. And, total transparency, full disclosure, there are times where I don't know if I would actually stay here.
Sure.
I'm a big Second Amendment guy, right? We have, CrimeSonics. We're a very pro law enforcement library, right? And when I lived in Colorado, I lived in Denver for a few years. I was a member of a private gun club. I got to practice the art of shooting competitively every week. And that's something I really, really miss. And, and having like the freedom to go on, there's great hiking here, but like that, it's different in the West, right? In the mountains, different in the mountains. The air is different in the mountains,
Oh, for sure. I've always been a skier, and going and skiing in Vancouver and Utah, and I love the mountains myself. I don't have a beach body, so it's pretty scary when my shirt's off. I just keep my wife blindfolded. It keeps everybody happy. But
no cameras on this chat right here.
Good, thank God. But no, this is the thing. I mean, I moved around a lot, and I feel like it's the company you keep. It's who you are and the people that you surround yourself with. I came here to do shit. I came here with a dream and a goal. When I first moved here, I was very focused on the advertising world because, I worked in music houses and back in New York, and I was doing jingle singing and writing. And, I was doing a lot of, TV/advertising in Phoenix, and a lot of kids music also. But I was very focused on advertising. I wasn't focused particularly on film and TV. I just didn't have the connections like I did in the advertising world. So when I came to LA, I was working advertising, signed to a music house, and really accomplished everything on my goal list for advertising. And so, my success helped my positive attitude outlook towards LA. Plus, there are such wonderful people. Look at our community, the production music community. I mean, you go to that PMC conference and, meeting you and becoming friendly with you, and you inspire each other. Yes, it's competitive, but it really is a good group of folks. I mean, there's plenty of scumbags out there, and but I think if you're a smart enough business person, because we are in a business, you could hopefully navigate that, and not fall into the pitfalls of the typical LA story,
Well, let's get into the meat of this. I want to talk a little bit about Supersonic Noise. How did you get the idea for this library, and how did you make that happen? Talk to me about, like, okay, now we're switching gears, we're going straight into production music for TV.
Well, I was doing my own thing, composing, obviously having a lot of dead tracks, and stuff that you're writing, or you're, through the years you write stuff for shows that you're licensing as opposed to work for hire. But I actually met two business partners that were transplants from the Boston music scene. A lot of my friends came from the Boston music scene. A lot of them still, from originally from Boston. And he had a company called Supersonic Media Group. Okay. And we were partners. There was three of us, another creative partner, composer, and then a woman that was more of the administration and business side. And we were a company for a few years, and I joined Supersonic Media Group, and we got some TV shows and we got some advertising, and we were just accumulating music and building, a catalog at the time, but we didn't know what it really was. We didn't know it was a catalog, we didn't know what a production music library particularly was. And he was a very creative, inspiring, quirky dude, but definitely marched to his own beat. And one day he's like, look, I'm really not into doing TV music. I really want to focus on film. And he was very, just eclectic in that way. And he's like, look, I'm going to sell you the company. And so I technically bought out the Supersonic Media Group, but that name was kind of staunchy and just a little bit technical for me. So I don't know if it was me, I don't remember exactly, but I think Supersonic Noise, three letters, 3 words, came up, and I switched all the business to Supersonic Noise, and still was doing, I was still working for a company called Machine Head in Venice as a composer. After a few years, we had Supersonic Noise. It kind of was put on hold. While I was at Machine Head, I met a woman that helped facilitate and educate me on production music. She came from, she came from another music house and a music company, and she was versed in production music. She helped me basically structure Supersonic Noise and build and organize the production music library, which after Machine Head kind of folded, I went on my own again and really just started to build the production catalog, bringing in other composers, networking, selling it along with me as a composer. It's like, hey, I'm a composer. I got a catalog. I'll do the music supervision, sort of like a one-stop shop. And that's how it all sort of came together.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the credits list now. I mean, we're seeing Fox, TLC, A&E, Travel Channel, Spike TV, VH1, Fuel TV. I mean, I could go down this list for 10 minutes. It's like you've worked for and on just about everything that's ever been created in the history of ever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have luckily done every crappy reality show you've never watched. So, that's definitely been.
We mean wonderful reality shows.
No, it's like, I love short form. I loved advertising, and then that industry has changed and shifted. After I left Machine Head, you're trying to do the freelance thing for other music houses, and many of them have folded. The deals and the structures have, where it was maybe 80% custom score, now it's probably 80% licensing pre-existing music and 20% custom score.
Wow.
I felt like I did everything I can do in advertising. I was really fortunate. The kind of campaigns I worked on, I did Super Bowl ads, things that really were, I was like, okay, cool. This was amazing. Let's now go and try and pursue TV.
I'm looking down. I see Nike, McDonald's, Coke, Jeep, MGM Graham, Dodge, Xbox, AT&T. I mean, you got more credits than me.
No. Well, I mean, look, it's not even about that. It was, look, that was a special time because I was doing AFM union stuff. I was doing SAG after vocal stuff, the checks, the money, I'd open up the mailbox and the AFM union checks were pouring out. That shit is gone, at least for me. And, I'm sure that happens for some people, but the union gigs have really dried up. The industry's changed, and production music always seemed like, and me and you have been together and had our discussions before. I always wanted to make production music. And by the way, my first production discs that I did were for like network music back in 98, 99, and First Com stuff in late 99, early 2000s. I wanted to elevate it and just not make it production music or library music. I just wanted to make great music.
Yeah.
And not, why, everybody has to put everything in a category. Who gives a shit if it's going for an underscore of a crime reality show or it's a pop track or a hip hop track? It should all sound fantastic and have validity.
Absolutely.
So that's my goal with whatever I'm trying to produce now, or, at this point, Supersonic Noise, I have made it the catalog, right? Yeah. It's not really, it was my identity now being a part of Bulletproof Bear and having partners and, being something larger than, myself. I'm really enjoying, and we represent music labels or catalogs. So Bulletproof Bear is the tree trunk, and the labels are the tree branches. And Supersonic Noise is now a tree branch, one of the catalogs that we represent worldwide.
I love it. And I want to move into Bulletproof Bear in just one second, but
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you if we could play, like the publisher game for a minute. Let's pretend right now that our only audience to this podcast are, maybe new composers, up and coming composers, individuals trying to get into the production music world, or maybe even some people who've been in the game for a while, and they have interest in working with you. So how do you find new composers to work with? How do you choose who you're going to work with?
Well, I mean, sometimes I've gotten hit up by people that might hear a podcast or see an article or hear something, and they'll send me stuff. 9 out of 10 times, it's like, the emails are horribly written. They're either including files in the email, which is a no-no, because I don't want to open some shit. Who knows what kind of viruses? And I don't know who you are. It's a mass email going to many people, and I'm one of them. Yeah. Once in a while, I'll hear something that's really special, and I'll reach out to that person. And I think, maybe I can count on one hand. I mean, look, Supersonic Noise as a catalog, we're small. It's maybe like over 3,000 tracks. That includes alternate versions. Maybe I have 20 composers that I've worked with, because I'm looking for incredible, uniqueness, your own voice. I'm not looking for somebody that can do everything. I want somebody to have a personality, and I want to work with artists,
Right.
So I'm a little, particular about who I might want to bring in. So they'll hit me up. Okay, that's fine. A lot of times friends of mine might be like, hey, you got to check out this person, or somebody will reach out to me that's recommended. That's worked out a little bit more because I think my friends know me. And so when they recommend somebody, that person might be more along the lines of what I'm looking for. Some of them are my friends through the years, I mean, a number of guys in the catalog are touring rock stars, sidemen for big, rock bands. And I've met them, and, they want to get in this game. Everybody wants to get in this game, because how the hell are you going to make money in music? There's, touring's fucked right now, but album sales, if you're an independent artist, I mean, it's licensing, it's composing. So everybody wants to be in production music or be a composer.
Right? Isn't this the secret pot of gold that we've been hiding? Right?
It's crazy, and look, sometimes it's hard to compete with. You get off the road with rock star X, and you're a sideman, or you're a rock star yourself, and then you want to get into composing for a show. You're going to get that agent, you're going to get that meeting, you're going to get that email return where I might email the same person regardless of my credits or experience, and they're like, Jason who? Yeah. So it is challenging. But yeah, I mean, we are looking to build a career. We are looking to build, like, I'm sure a lot of your listeners or people and yourself, they know about what's been happening with Discovery Channel, the way they wanted to sort of do that direct licensing model and not pay out royalties. And, there's been a whole movement online about, respect your future, respect your music. And it's about building a legacy. It's about a marathon as opposed to just getting paid. I've never been the guy that's focused on money. I'm focused on, my relationships and the long-term career, because, I just want to do this for a living. Am I going to be a millionaire? I don't think so. I mean, I just want to make a living and pay my bills and make out with my wife, that it's simple stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't know who said this at some point in time, but someone said, if you're always focused on money, right, you're thinking about getting that money in your hand, and you're just looking at your hand. And how funny do you look if you're walking around looking at your hand all day?
Right. Yeah,
And
I mean, it's the relationships that we've built in this business are special and unique, and the work comes. And if you're authentic, you show up, you communicate effectively. I mean, that to me is building something that you could build a house on, a foundation. You
yeah,
know, so
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And on another episode, we're talking about like it doesn't matter like how good you are. Like everybody's somewhat good, right? It doesn't matter how good you are, how good of a person are you, right? Like people want to work with people that they like, you know?
and show up. Communication is
Right.
key. You know, not nickel and diming a client. I mean, look, we've all been there where we're like, to your friend privately, like, shit, man, this client is just kicking my butt. They're asking for so much more. And it's like, you just really have to resign yourself to like, look, I'm going to finish this gig. I'm going to make them love what I'm doing, love me. And hopefully they'll go on to something bigger, better, maybe with a bigger budget. And they'll remember me that I just had their back regardless.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of the mentality I try to walk with.
A little bit of technical questions I have. So once you have identified a composer, an artist that you want to work with, and you've given them a brief or however that process goes, I would like to talk about the deliverable process. How do you accept and receive the content from your composers?
Simple 24-bit 48K AIF files. And if they can do high quality MP3s, that's too cool. I use the source audio. Bullet uses a source audio format for the back end infrastructure for our distribution and website thing. So that's one way. Some of these customers want, or catalogs want 1 million stems. I just want maybe 4 to 8 alternate mixes. I don't need cut downs of like 30-second, 60-second or bumps. I mean, if they want to do that, that's great. But I just want alternate versions. Hopefully the relationship is good with my composers. If I needed to open a session, or I needed specific stems, I can just go to them and they're all amicable and no problem, Jay, I'll get that to you. But I just want alternate.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt because you're throwing out a couple of terms that you and I
Yeah.
take for granted every day. But could you just really quickly explain the difference between a stem and a cut down and an alternate mix?
Yeah. So, you got your full mix, the full track, right?
Yeah.
For me, alternate mixes is the full mix is one. Number 2 would be the full mix without any melody or lead line. So that's another alternate mix. Then there's maybe a drum and bass version of the mix only, maybe a no drums mix only. Maybe it's piano and acoustic guitars. Anything that you feel an editor can, take that track and have as many variants of that track that work well, as opposed to a stem, which is, guitar only, guitar on the left side only, guitar on the right side only, or lead guitar solo, or, bass by itself. So stems, you can literally put those in a DAW, a digital audio workstation, and build the track from those stems if you want. Some editors like doing that. For the most part, having a good amount of alternate mixes, I've not necessarily had any editors have any issues. I just finished a TV series, a show that's going to come out, I think maybe summer or fall. And, all the alternate versions were fine. They might have had a couple of requests for me. I'd go back and just do that for them. So that's the difference between alternate mix, alternate versions, and the actual stems of the full track.
Do you have any pet peeves when you're working with your composers, or is there anything that gets under your craw that you wish all composers out there listening should know?
No, just double check your work.
Absolutely.
It's like you're sending me the alternate mixes. Make sure that the start, nothing gets caught off at the front or the back end, or there's no. Sometimes when you're bouncing shit, there might be some sort of artifact in there. Just double check your work. I know it's methodical and boring and mind numbing, but I think that's cool. And I just, want guys that are like, yeah, sure. Oh, cool. That's a great idea. Great. Let me try that. Sometimes I've had guys in the past, they'll fight you on, hey, can you do me a favor? And when you come back in after that breakdown, bring in like a 16th note tambourine or another loop or something to up the energy, and if someone's going to fight you on a simple suggestion like that, then you can see you're in for trouble. I mean, are the technology these days, it's like, try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Take it away. It's like, it takes 10 minutes to try something these days. So anybody that's just difficult to work with, why bother?
Yeah.
Life's too short,
Yeah. A couple of things that I've seen. I don't want to say they're reoccurring, but that happen more frequently than I would suspect. Is sometimes I'll receive a stem that has a click track printed in it. You just forgot to mute the click.
Yeah, I mean,
or right, if there's like a
yeah.
subgroup and you're doing some sort of group work, and then you didn't realize that click track was unmuted now, and so you get a couple stems with that.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes happen, and it's like, you're doing so many things, and we like, that's it. And what are you gonna do? Be like, hey, bud, can you left the click track in there? Oh shit, I'm so sorry. Okay, no big deal. I mean, overall, all of my guys, I just started 2 albums for Supersonic, and the guys are great. Everybody wants to work. I pay for music, so I pay a small fee up front. I won't say how much I pay, but I pay a decent little chunk of change up front. It's not, by the way, it's not as good as Universal money. I don't have Universal money. My deals are pretty simple. They're work for hire. I pay a fee up front. The writer gets 100% of the writers, and it's a work for hire. So my company retains the publishing. It's exclusive. It's in perpetuity. And, I try and get the stuff placed. That's it.
That's great.
I don't do sync split. That's an accounting nightmare. That's very popular. A lot of catalogs will be like, look, give me the music at no cost up front, and I'll split the license fee with you as I license the track. So the composer could see no money for a year or 2 or 3, right?
Right.
It's like what, I rather put a little money in the person's pocket at first, but trailers, they do a lot of the sync split thing, and you're giving them their music for, you have to then wait and see if they get that stuff picked up. And sometimes your track might not get picked up, and then you did it and it's just sitting in their library. So, sync split's not for me. But it does work for some people. The trailer industry, they're going through music pretty crazy. So they like that sync split model.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty standard model, and that's a highly competitive industry, and sometimes I think for pretty little reward. Unless you're one of the guys that are landing the trailer like on the weekly or at least like the monthly.
Yeah. Well, a good friend of mine started the business a few years ago, and he's worked really hard, and he's become he does music for me for Supersonic, but he's been very successful at trailers, and he's done pretty well. And it's look, advertising, work for hire, composing, licensing, TV, film, indie films, trailers, gaming, iOS apps, they all have their sort of different, path. The way payments are made, the way, deliverables are delivered, So every section, every slice of our industry has a different way of, what might work best for that section.
Do you, at Supersonic Noise, do you do the metadata, or do you outsource that?
Oh no, I do it. Yeah, it's like I have outsourced it in the past, but we kind of keep it the same along the same sort of standard lines. But I'm pretty fast at it now, and a lot of the composers I work with are repeat guys, so their composer, writer, and my publisher information is all easy to just copy and paste, and we have our sort of way of doing it with Bullet. So it's pretty simple. It's just looking at spreadsheets and having your mind melt. So
yeah, I've fortunately for me, unfortunately for my beautiful wife, I allow her the privilege
Yeah,
to do all of our metadata.
I'm sure that makes for a hot Friday night, man.
Oh, and you know, it's funny you say that because we just recently bought this little, nice little country restaurant looking breakfast nook over in the corner. I mean, we've built this little coffee shop area in our house where we can sit over there with our little laptops and geek out on metadata on a Friday night.
Yeah, I mean,
It's hot living.
yeah, well, you look, man, look what you've done, what you've built. It's incredible, from the sample library stuff, to you were writing for everybody yourself, and now you have your own catalog. And what you did is also what I always preach. It's like you're doing what you do exceptionally well. I mean, yes, you have we all have a lot of variety, and we can write different styles, but you focused your catalog on the crime thing, and it's the best as far as anything that I've heard of what it is by far, and the way you brand it, and your authenticity. I mean, that's the kind of shit that I think builds careers, as opposed to just trying to get paid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, can't just walk around with your face in your hand hoping the dollar goes in there. Well, I appreciate those compliments, brother. So, okay, supersonicnoise.com, and then on my other monitor, I have bulletproofbear.com.
Yeah.
Now, totally transparently,
Yeah.
I'm genuinely interested in everything we're talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm that much more genuinely interested in learning about this and how this works and this structure. And just, dude, start at the top. Help me understand Bulletproof Bear.
Well, I mean, we're like, it's basically, it's myself and three business partners. And I met one of my business partners, Andrew, at NEB. I went up to him after hearing him talk about something. He was kind of helping. He's on the board of the PMA right now.
It's Andrew Gross.
Yeah, Andrew.
I love Andrew Gross. I have to get him on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just one of the sweetest people. And then John Lacroix is one of my other business partners, and he owns a catalog called V-Town Cartel, and Andrew's catalog is Consonant. And then we had a fourth business partner that started with us, but it didn't work out, and he ended up leaving the four of us. And I had a friend named Chris Davies, who was in the record industry, record business management, touring, promotion. And I introduced him to the guys, and he was just a perfect fit because he was not a creative. He's more of a business-minded guy, but very creative and wonderful, honest, hardworking, smart. And we joined forces as Bullet to basically combat, because we all had these small catalogs, right? John had his, Andrew had his, and I had mine. We're all composers doing our shows, our licensing, just all hustling. But how do you compete with APM or Megatracks or Killer Tracks or Jingle Punks or, Extreme and all these? You can't when you have 2,000 tracks. But if we come together as, essentially united artists, like the APM model, well, they might have their own catalog, but APM basically represents other catalogs from around the world, right? Well, that's exactly what we decided to do. We have our own small catalogs under the Bulletproof Bear umbrella, but we represent a couple of dozen small to middle-sized catalogs. So our overall catalog count is like over 70,000 tracks. So, we are exclusively representing. We don't do non-exclusive. We don't retitle. We don't do any of the shady shit. We represent artists. We represent labels / catalogs for licensing worldwide, international sub-published, like you are through your distributor. You're with BMG, I think.
BMG,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have all the international deals and domestically, and in a way, it started selfishly for the three of us, John, Andrew, and myself, to service our clients, because I'm on a TV show or I'm working with a network, and they're using supersonic noise. Dude, they're going to chew through my 2,000, 3,000 tracks in a minute.
Yeah.
But if I could bring in 70,000 tracks, I can land larger contracts. I can do, you know what I mean? I could compete with the big boys for the most part, more effectively. We do have some very, very unique, very pro composer, very pro label entities built into our agreement that none of these other catalogs have, which unfortunately is a little bit like our secret sauce. So I can't articulate it, but it is a sort of United Artists sort of, what's the word? There's a sharing type of mentality. And it's very unique and it's worked out. But, look, we're small. I don't have a sales rep team of 10 or 20 people. And I don't have millions and millions of dollars pumped into me like, with corporate sponsors or big record labels or big, media conglomerates like the BMGs and the APMs of the world or Universal. But that's what we're going after. We're striding for that.
Help me understand. I'm looking at this Bulletproof Bear. I'm at bulletproofbear.com, but I see this sweet little green figure holding up a record, and then I click on this link, and I'm going to this record label. Tell me about this record label. Is it Bodan Kuma?
Yeah, Bodan Kuma means bulletproof in Japanese. Chris, our partner, initially started the record label. Okay. And it's a small indie label. We've got a few little releases. We released the latest Long Wave album, which is an indie rock band, contemporaries of like the Strokes and Blue October out of Brooklyn, and a local Laurel Canyon style classic rock band called Grand Canyon here in LA, and a few other things. And so, we have a little of that. We've also done some master side only with my friend's record label. What is my buddy's record label? It's slipping my mind. Let me go to the website. That way I could get all my names.
And I will go ahead and link. I'll put all these links in the description of this podcast.
Cool.
So
yeah, Trans Records. We were doing a little work with Trans Records, which is Chris Walla from Death Cab for Cutie and another buddy of mine, Adam Katz's label, and we were doing a little master side only stuff. So we try and just have cool stuff. I mean, we don't have everything for everyone. Even the Bulletproof Bear catalog doesn't have everything for everyone, and sometimes you just don't have it. And I think that's fine too. My vibe is I want to be the indie record label of production music, right?
That's cool.
I want to have that attention to creativity, the artists, my communication with the clients. I don't want to bullshit. I don't need to sell. I just want it to be, real deal, no bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And then I also see on your site, there is a music submissions page where it looks like artists, composers can go on here, submit directly through the site.
Yeah, we have that. We get hit up a lot. Folks find us through there. Sometimes, John might throw out an ad or two saying, hey, let's hear some of your stuff. Sometimes we'll sign some stuff from that. We've gotten some people. It's hard. I don't want to sign. I mean, if it's an artist, fine, you sign one album. But, as far as music catalogs, I don't want to just sign one album of a production music catalog. We're looking for smaller to medium size catalogs at this point that don't have international or national, representation, that have a unique voice. I mean, maybe it's an urban hip hop or an EDM or a chill wave only catalog, or maybe it's a crime catalog specifically. We have, or maybe it's trailer specific, or maybe it's like melodica and ukulele specific.
Yeah,
just something that's unique. We do have some catalogs that have a little of everything, and that's fine too.
I was gonna say too, in regard to the online submission form, we have that on the CrimeSonics homepage as well. And I just want all of the listeners to this podcast to know, if you are a composer and you have submitted, we're definitely aware that you've sent in music, but I mean, anyone at any time, it's on the web, right? 24 hours a day. I know that there's over 1,100 emails in that submission form right now on,
Wow.
on the CrimeSonics page. And I do go through it, and my wife goes through it, and when our interns are here, they go through it. We are actively going through that, but
Yeah.
it takes time. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
does.
I would just say, like, it's better to, I don't want to tell people to reach out to us directly and bombard us, but, you know, be sensitive to, you know, people's schedules. And if you're looking for opportunities, like we are listening, it does take time.
But yeah, I also want somebody that is reaching out. I mean, maybe through the website, it's a little bit vague and sterile, but if someone's sending I mean, look, we're easy to find
Right.
online. But if somebody sends me a personal email, it's like, you know, I don't want them to be like, yo, 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 you know, I want them to fucking be articulate and talk to me, you know, tell me what they're doing. And, you know, and don't send me one track that they're looking to have represented. A lot of people like, hey, check out my song. It's
Yeah.
like, look, man, I'm not doing one song. You know, and look, when you're young, you don't know. So you listen to shit like this. There's so much knowledge and education out there. And fine, I didn't know it all. I still don't know it all. Still don't know anything.
Right.
But when you're, you know, when you're in your 20s or you're trying to break into this business, you think, hey, I got this killer track. Someone's going to throw it on an Apple commercial. Check it out. Unfortunately, it's just not that simple. So
it's not very effective to drop an email that says, yo, dog, check out that fire beat. And then,
right.
and then when the beat comes in, it's not that fire, right?
Yeah. No,
If it was actually a fire beat, then you'd get a call back.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the blessing and the curse of our technology and our industry. It's like you could be in your bathroom and you can make a great album, or you can be in your bathroom and just make a disaster.
Yeah.
And you know, the tools, it's like we all use them, we all have them. They're there for us to create, speed things up a little bit, give us a little inspiration. But you know, just don't hit middle C and feel like I'm going to do that for 2 minutes and that's the track. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah, we will probably do another convo together when we talk about just about like how to write great production music. I know those are coming.
Yeah, but you know, that's Bullet. We're, you know, in a nutshell, we're a small independent, you know, catalog that is repping labels exclusively and trying to compete with a different model than your typical. And you know our model because you signed the NDA back in the day. But you know, and it works for some. It really works well for people that have existing clientele and have a small catalog of 2,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 tracks. By being a member and a partner in Bulletproof Bear, they would have access to the 70,000 tracks that they could also submit to their clientele, and there would be a sort of sharing of revenue type of model, you know. And so it's very unique, and I think we're proud of it because we're composers and artists, and we're looking to uplift our composer artist, you know, brothers and sisters, not fuck them.
Right.
You know?
And on that point, let me ask you this question. What's the one piece of advice that you wish you got that you want to share with those new to our industry or trying to get started in our industry? What's that one piece of advice?
You know, learn the business, you know, understand licensing, understand what your PROs do, understand, don't give away your writer share. Don't say to a catalog or to people that offer you money, Netflix is doing these kinds of deals. Netflix is doing the kind of deals that they are doing complete buyout of the writer share. There would be no royalties for additional finances. So they'll give you an extra $50,000, a lot of money. But is your future, is the consistency of your earning potential worth $50,000 up front? We need composers and writers and artists that respect their music. I used an analogy with you and me when we were on that panel a couple of years ago. It's like you could look at your music as your wife, or you can look at it as like a prostitute. You know, the wife, you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's like you could either take your music and retitle the fuck out of it and just looking to make money, and it's not worth anything to you except the dollar, or it's the most coveted relationship you've ever had. That I choose to look at my music and my artist's music as the most coveted, relationship I've ever had. And so we want our artists to do smart deals with networks, with television shows, understand what work for hire is, which is fine. I did a work for hire for this ABC show that's coming out. They paid me a respectable fee. I retained my writer share. They were purchasing the publishing, but it's going to be an ABC show, and I'm going to make some hopefully solid money on the back end, right?
Yeah.
Production music, it's like spend the money and hire an attorney or hire a good legal licensing person to look at the contract to make sure that you know what you're getting into. Just, take your time, be smart. Don't be so anxious to sign on the dotted line. Ask questions. They're not going to fire you if you're like, go back and want to have a discussion about your contract. This is what you do.
Exactly right.
I guess. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And, I missed it earlier in our podcast, and you touched on something again. And even though we're wrapping this guy up, I want you really quick to explain something. You mentioned the term retitling. What's the difference between retitling and renaming?
I don't really know. I think it sounds the same to me. Retitling is, what a lot of people are doing is there are these royalty-free websites, pond5.com or whatever, a bunch of these on. They're always changing their deals, so I don't know exactly what some of them are offering now. But you can put your music up there. It's royalty-free. There's really those websites are that you can take your music and put it there. Then you can take your music and put it with that music catalog and that music catalog. And by retitling that original title chain, what's happening is, it's a little confusing. So you're taking that original title chain and you're giving your music to other companies to put their publishing company on that piece of music. So it's the same piece of music, but it's in 4 different catalogs with 4 different publishers. So those publishers or music libraries or whatever are going to send it out to a TV show, and a music supervisor is going to get that track. Maybe she's getting that same track from 2 different sources. So it's the same piece of music with the same writer, but a different publisher. It's a degradation of the original title chain. It's confusing the music supervisor. It's cheapening your music because you're looking to put your music in as many places, that same piece of music in as many places as possible, as opposed to putting it with one company exclusively that's treating your music with respect, that's treating your music like, look, you can only get, John Smith's music from us. It's special. It's unique. You're not going to find it anyplace else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's it. And
it's a little confusing. It's a little.
Yeah. Well, it's frowned upon. It's shady. It's weak. It's whack. It's not dope. It's the opposite of what you want to do, right?
You always have a way with words.
The only thing that internally with CrimeSonics, we have like our own definition. We do not retitle. I personally do not retitle. I have no interest on ever doing anything nefarious other than, murdering you with a piece of music. That's all we want to do. Right. But I will rename cues in our library. They only will ever have the name that I've renamed it now, because I'll give you an example. Someone might send in a track and it's called, like The Dark Pictures of My Soul. And when we go to, push this out to the world, I'll just change that name permanently to, Dark Pictures.
Oh, yeah. My guys will give me, for me, naming my tracks is a fine art form.
Absolutely.
I love it, man. I do research and shit. I'll go into I'll go to NASA's website and look up different nebulas and stars on, find cool shit. But so they're sending me the track, and they're going to name it what they're naming it for their file. And I let my composers know, hey guys, this is what I'm naming it. They have, my guys have access to the Bullet and the Supersonic website. They can see what their music is, you know, and then that is the name that I'm registering it with the PRO.
Right.
But that's
Exactly
the name.
right. That,
I'm
right.
not,
So renamed, but not duplicated, and then retitled. Totally different world.
no, but as the catalog owner, and when you're curating or you're buying music or you're doing work for hire, that's your prerogative to name it whatever you want. You know, if you know, because it's like a lot of guys might just call their track that they're delivering to you Hip Hop Tension '01. So
Yep.
of course you're going to rename it, you know, so an editor sees it and gets tantalated by it, you know.
Jason Moss, man,
That's
I'll
it.
tell you what, dude, it is always a pleasure. I mean, always truly is, right? I
Well,
mean,
you're a
so,
sweetheart. Thank you, man.
so much fun. Appreciate you doing this. Appreciate you being transparent. Always willing to, you know, just share your knowledge, your experiences, stories, and hey, you know, soon as the world opens up, we're gonna go get some barbecue, brother.
Oh, that would be amazing. I can't wait to see the 4 people I like in this world, and you're one
I
of them.
love it. Supersonic Noise, Bulletproof Bear, and we are out of here.